Hello and welcome to Learning with Lulu. So in this video we are going to be doing a summary of chapter 19 in Jane Eyre. As we learned in the last chapter, chapter 18, a gypsy woman arrived at Thornfield and insisted on predicting people's futures or giving people's fortunes. So the gypsy woman, the servants relate that she wants to read everyone's fortune, and Jane has not had hers read yet, so Jane goes into the library to have her fortune read. She is skeptical, and definitely keeps herself on guard, but she does become a little bit entranced by some of the things that the gypsy woman does say. And the gypsy seems to have a lot of really on point understandings about Jane, and she seems to know a great deal about her, and Jane is just kind of well, you could have found that out by, these are outward facts, you could have found that out anyway if you really were worth your salt. Again, she doesn't say that, but she essentially says you're predicting outward things, that's not really revealing anything that couldn't be known by anyone else to me. And so they have that little interaction. The gypsy woman does tell Jane that she's very close to happiness, and she also kind of starts to reveal a little bit of what she told some of the other people, specifically that she told Blanche that Rochester wasn't as wealthy as he appeared to be, and that is why Blanche went out looking not super happy, a little sullen. But anyway, as Jane's fortune is continuing to be read, Jane realizes that the voice of this woman is getting deeper and deeper until towards the end of the fortune, obviously, she realizes that it's Rochester. It's been Rochester the whole time, dressed up as a fortune teller, telling people these things. And Jane is a little annoyed, obviously, and kind of scolds Rochester for being deceitful and tricking. And Jane also, she's a little put off, but also you can tell that she feels more at ease being in just his presence than out with everyone else. It's just this interaction between a fortune teller who's actually Rochester and Jane. And then Jane kind of updates him on what has happened. She tells him that Mr. Mason has arrived, and she can tell immediately that Rochester is uncomfortable with that knowledge, with the arrival of this Mr. Mason. And he says this really interesting thing. He says, "But if I were to go to them and they only looked at me coldly and whispered sneeringly amongst each other and then dropped off and left me one by one, what then? Would you go with them?" So he's saying if the whole world turned its back on me, would you turn your back on me too? And Jane says, "I rather think not, sir. I should have more pleasure in staying with you." "To comfort me?" "Yes, sir, to comfort you as well as I could." "And if they laid you under a ban for adhering to me?" So he says, "So if they cast you off too?" She said, "I probably should know nothing about their ban, and if I did, I should care nothing about it." So it's just this sweet moment of her being I've got your back, essentially, and just kind of this conversation that shows that I am your friend, and I don't care what society thinks, really. I know it's true in my heart. And then there's also a quote that I wanted to share from when Rochester is pretending to be the gypsy and reads Jane's fortune. And this that I'm about to read, it's him saying what he sees in her countenance, what her countenance is saying. So he says that Jane thinks, "I can live alone if self-respect and circumstances require me to do so. I need not sell my soul to buy bliss. I have an inward treasure born with me, which can keep me alive if all extraneous delights should be withheld, were offered only at a price I cannot afford to give." The forehead declares, reason sits firm and holds the reins, and she will not let the feelings burst away and hurry her to wild chasms. The passions may rage furiously like true heathens as they are, and the desires may imagine all sorts of vain things, but judgment shall still have the last word in every argument, and the casting vote in every decision. And I find that really sweet, because it's kind of Rochester, like he's saying this is what he reads in her, but it also shows that he sees those qualities in her, and you can assume that he admires her for those qualities as well. So, that is chapter 19 of Jane Eyre. Thanks for watching this video. Please make sure to support this channel and hopefully the benefit you're getting from it by subscribing, liking the video, sharing with others that you know may need this support, whether just an English class or just because there's a goal of reading Jane Eyre and it is not what you're necessarily used to. So yeah. Thanks for watching, share, like, subscribe, all of that, and come back for more.